2 o'clock now, and it's time for having Peggy Friis on the floor. Thank you very much, Friis. As an introduction to Peggy Friis, I can tell you that I think I did it shortly before, but she's really one of the pioneers within wind turbines. She has been in the business for I think more than 40 years, so that we are talking about late 70s or beginning of the 80s, and she has had a lot of different functions within this in this field. Latest, she was also the leader of the wind turbine department in Denmark. So Peggy will tell us about Denmark certifying for the future for small and medium wind, crystal ball view. So let's see what the crystal ball says about the future. Peggy, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
I'm
here.
Hi.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. I've been seeing you a lot though.
Oh, poor you.
And I'll try, and thank you for the introduction. That was a very nice one. And yes, wind energy is has my heart, and I've been devoted to wind energy for more than my full lifetime almost. I'll share the screen, and that will be screen 1. Share. Can you see it? You're sharing? Yes? I guess it's okay now?
Yes.
Then well, I changed a little bit because the fuchsia and the crystal ball is not very crystal anymore, because it's there by the end of the year. So you can read about it, only if you only read Danish though. The Danish execute order will be available by 1st of January, or be enforced by 1st of January. The text is available. And in that one, we have that all small wind turbines that are installed in Denmark must have a type certificate. And now we are the only one that doesn't have to have is the turbines below 5 square meter swept area. The 5 meter to 40 meter swept area still can be designed according to the Danish rules as we had before. That could be used as an option. Otherwise, we are designing and certifying turbines according to the DAS 22, which is actually a standard, a conformity standard, which today is only valid in Europe and in Denmark. And this counts for wind turbines up till 200 square meters. And then at the end, for designing and certificate, for the certificate, we can use for all wind turbines the IECRE OD 501, which is in the pipeline. We still have the same certificate types as usually. We have prototype, we have the provisional, we have a type certificate, and special for Denmark, we have if you rebuild a turbine, or you are moving one, or you're changing it, or you have a prototype you want to have as a type certificate, that are all called rebuild type certificate. This is very special for Denmark so far. And I think it's still the only country where it's used. And then we have in Denmark also project certificate for wind turbines that has a larger diameter than 200 square meter. So this is more or less the same as it used to be. And if we have a look at the service and maintenance and repair, we have, according to the new rules coming up, the small wind turbines below 5 and 40 meters in rotor swept rotor area. There the owner must operate a logbook. There are no official demands on who are doing the maintenance, which company. You don't have to have a certificate for it. You can be approved though. And for wind turbines more than 200 square meters, you have to have service which are provided and locked under the Energy Agency data register. And for the wind turbine above 240 square meters up till more, the service provider must be certified or approved. The certifying part is following international criteria. The approved one is according to the approval system is according to the execute order, which are more or less the same as before, but now it is going to be more specified and more detailed. In that way, it's more easy. Some of the rules are, though, a little bit more difficult to fulfill. And then we also have a end of lifetime design lifetime requirement to service and maintenance, which is new, that it's already included in it. And it's very important that all manuals are supplied to the owners. Excuse me. The certification or the design and certification of small wind is, according to the Danish rules, are for only 5 to 40 square meters. And here we have, as usual, a pull test with 300 Newton per square meter, which we are putting the tower. We are taking into the, well, we are, what you're saying it, I forgot the English word now, but we give the tower 200 Newton per square meter rotor at upright as a test of the tower, and we do the same on the blades. And that's 2/3 of the flat-wise blade roads from the roots. That what is new is that the safety and function test, including overspeed, is at a wind speed of minimum 8 meters per second, which used to be up till 12 meters per second, which is more or less dangerous actually. So that's an improvement. And the manuals are the same. The duration tests are a bit different from the IEC 61400-2, where you have the duration test. Here we have a smaller duration test, which is 500 full load hours for at least 3 months, and 2 times wind speed above 12 meters per second for a period of 6 hours, which can in some locations be a bit difficult in Denmark. And then you need to have wind speed output and energy production. Output is in terms of power, and the energy production measured. And acoustics are also a part of the measurement and a part of the certification of a turbine. And just to come to the IEC management structure, I know I put it up every year, but it's important that that you kind of see the difference. We have always the standards, which is a technical committee under TC88 that are putting up the technical standards for wind turbine design. And these are under the standard management board. Under conformity assessment board, we have IEC-RE, and those are certifying or make a conformity assessment that the design is according to the standard giving. The IECRE is not preparing standards in that way. They are interpreting or guidelines on how to evaluate standards and how to read them, but they do not write the standards. And that was one of the comments that I had to Tony's presentation before, because he was like saying that the IECRE would make the design standard for the DAS for the small wind turbine. This is not the case. And if we look at the IEC design standard, we still have the DAS1, which is the 61400-2, and this is the small wind standard up till 200 square meters for design of the turbine. And this has a stability date which runs out by 2021, and that is around the corner. What is going to happen there, I don't know. It will be chaotic, I think. And then on the other hand, we have for the medium-sized turbine, we have a Annex M, which is actually dealing with the medium wind turbines, which are turbines above 200 square meters in rotor, swept rotor area. This is for the technical design of the turbine and has nothing to do with the grid connection and the grid criteria, which Tony also came into, where he has where the Danish rules have improved, and I think that's a very, very good part though. The IECRE is a certification scheme which are based on the standard as before, and the aim is to operate it as a single global certifications system. More or less, it is operated and run and written by the industry in general. And part of it is that they also here are discussing what a certificate means and how you can combine the different certificates. The IECRE has a management committee, and within that one we have wind energy, we have PV system and marine system. And I put in the only here the wind energy sector working group. And there are a lot of working groups, and the one that's important for this group here is the small winds working group, stakeholder group 554. And if you go to the homepage, you can see that the 554 still claims that they have to look a bit on the certification as well, because they are doing operational documents regarding the design, testing, and certification. They are not writing the design and the testing, but they are writing how can we make a document, an operational document, a routine, a process for how do we certify the various technical demands. And this group has the aim to promote a global harmonization of small wind certification schemes. The 554 stakeholder group is actually taking the OD 501, which are developed for the large scale wind turbines. This one is going to be modified for a version of small wind, and the work has started. So what we today have, I don't know which number is going to have it because I'm no longer involved in it, but the work has started. The chairman sent it out this week, actually, beginning of the week, or was it end last week? The first draft on the OD 501 dash something for small wind. And it has two options. It has design certification and it has type certification, which is actually in both cases the same as for large wind, but trying to do it on a simplified version. The design certification is actually more or less just the first part is going into a design evaluation, including these guys here, maybe sometimes this part, and sometimes the type testing. I'm not quite sure how it's going to look like yet. The design basic evaluation, the type certificate is consisting of design basic, design, maybe foundation, and then your manufacturing process, then the type testing, and type characteristic measurements. Those two things are especially for the type characteristic measurements are generally an operational one, but the type testing is not. And the type testing is the part that the small test center at the Folkecenter is taking care of now and trying to contribute to. After that, we will have the final evaluation and the type certificate. Then another part is that we are looking at the type testing is safety and function test and duration test. And we have to take this in, and this is going into type test conformity statement, which is the type testing document. We might have power performance, we might have design data testing, we might have load, static, blades, fatigue. This is optional. Part of it here you can see load measurements is going to be optional. And then we have other tests. This is still in the beginning, and it's very important that you start looking into it in order to have your say in this one. One of the annex in the I forgot the dash of the new dash OD 501 for small wind is a annex which has the requirement for safety and function test. And this includes a discussion of the protection function, the test plan and on-site test activities, analysis and reporting, and inspection of personal safety. That part will be valid until special ODs or standards is available. And that's quite an improvement, I think. We needed it, though we didn't need it in that one, but that's where it ended. So this is actually coming to my end, and what we are is that I think we have the same question. Actually, this is the same as I used last year. We have the question and discussion, technical design standards, IEC, IA, Small Wind Association, EVEA, et al., AVEA, et al. And then the second part is certification and conformity assessment and statements. ICRE is coming, and other established certifying organizations can do it as well, but most of them are part in ICRE. And then in Denmark, we have a possibility of adding in an independent certifier, which is actually approved by the Danish Energy Agency, and that was an option before, and it will be an option for the future. That was actually what I would like to present.
Thank you very much, Peggy. Pleasure hearing you, and very informative. Thank you. We'll now open up for discussion or for questions. We had three former presentations, and there might be some questions from these presentations, and we'll take them in here as well. But also, since you have just finished and it's really fresh, then maybe we should start with the questions for Peggy Friis or comments. Pardon? John Kemp will have a question for you, Peggy.
Good.
John, you're on.
Hi, Peggy. Thank you. It's good to talk. I've not reviewed or looked at this 501 document that Hagen has spread around, but I'm very conscious of the time frame for retesting when the machine has been approved historically, and the costs involved in the retesting. There was some talk about a 4-year refresher required for testing. Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I think it's very often it's following the rules and regulations or the experience from the large wind turbines, and in the case that you change your turbine, yes, you should retest, but in other cases you shouldn't, because we have some small wind turbines which has been out there without changes more or less for since I started. I know Proven and Gaia is some turbines that didn't change a lot. So you have turbines that I think it should be depending on if we could build it in, trying to depend it a bit on statements on changes.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
it's going to be very expensive.
But that's the concern, is that the volume isn't there because the market is so tough at the moment. We need the volume in order to be able to justify the expenditure, and it's not just the expenditure on the MCS, it's all the regional expenditure, which I know is what we're trying to commonize from a global perspective, if you like. It's the cost of testing which is stifling development of these companies, I would have said. It's okay if we can get grant support, government grant support, but there must be a way of rationalizing the costs somehow.
Well, yeah. That way I think if you look at a market for a manufacturer, you should look at the global market. And therefore, it means that the IECRE is the way to go, because most countries are going that way. But if you look at where do we have the market, you see that the market is in developing countries, and the need for small wind is in developing countries, where they would like to have a cost-efficient wind turbine. Therefore, I think that the independent certifier would be a better way to go. Also, it should be possible to go for a very low cost testing. The duration test can actually be done rather cheap if you build it in your wind turbine design. If you are using the wind speed sensor that you most of the time couples to the wind turbine, and if the accuracy of the power production, the wind speed of the turbine, and the power measured in a wind turbine, if that accuracy could be used for your type certificate, then you are quite far in creating a type certificate which you can afford.
Yeah, I think it's a case of independent acceptance of your validation of the equipment that you're using. So the accuracy of the anemometers and the accuracy of the energy monitoring. I'm all for the understanding that we believe we know how well our turbines are performing, but it's whether it is accepted internationally. And then it can very easily escalate because you need to use a independent certifier, which is, there's nothing wrong with using an independent certifier, but that can be really expensive. And it's probably harder, even harder for the micro turbines that some of the presentations have come across, just to get the certification. I'd be interested to know what Mike Berge thinks as well. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So John, I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Yep.
Okay, so Peggy, I just have to comment on the IECRE process. I think the aspiration is wonderful. I think reciprocity across major markets is the ultimate goal. I don't think the IECRE is going to be successful. First, it's counting on very substantial funding from private sector companies, which all have shallow pockets these days. So the money's not there for supporting the high administrative costs of the IECRE program. And second, I think it underestimates the political power of the certification bodies in each country, and the fact that they will advocate for a requirement that they get to review and certify and therefore collect fees. And so I think the venue by which we will get the reciprocity is nation-to-nation trade agreements, not through a voluntary program. I wish it was different, and I would love to be proven wrong on this, but I just don't see the current IECRE process as being a path to success on that. But you're involved and may have a very different view.
Mike, I agree. The IECRE, I've been actually a lot against it. The IECRE costs a lot of money. Most countries are involved in it, though, the global. But it is very, very, very expensive, and I also think it's difficult to get into a IECRE logo on your certificate due to the cost, unless we try to have the individual certifier that way around. But the national to national trade agreement, I like a lot. I like that. I just don't know how we progress, because that costs the same amount of work, I think, and the same amount of time as it does to try to get an IECRE certificate up and running for small wind.
So it's a very different path.
Yeah.
With national trade agreements, your customer then is the trade, the commerce and trade departments of your country, and they are always they're always interested in ways to lower barriers to exports, because every country loves exports. They track the metrics, and anything they can do to increase exports is valuable. The problem we have is we're not on the radar screen. Nobody has systemically talked to these people, and they're people who want to change the world, and these are humans that want to think their job is making the world a better place. So I think it's a receptive audience. That's what we're going to start pursuing here in the US, and hopefully that will filter out to other countries. But you know, to John's point, we do need to streamline and simplify certifications and type certificates if necessary. We're trying to do that in the US. Our new certification standard will be officially in place as an ANSI recognized standard by the end of this year. So the costs of certifying in the US will drop in half, and the time will be also in approximately half. And hopefully if other countries review that, may find that this is has value to them, the things that we've done or similar things, then maybe we can see that some national standards go that way. And we can also see the new edition, upcoming edition of 61400-2 simplified a great deal.
The new ANSI standard, you said that will be by end of this year. That's this month or next?
That's correct.
That's a Christmas gift. Thank you.
We started the process in February, and we will have a new national standard by December.
Will that be available, public available?
Of course.
Yes. Well, I can only speak as part of Denmark, but in Denmark we have the execute order is according to that. But if you can prove that argue that your way, your standard has the same quality, the design standard, and the certificate has the same quality as asked for here, then you can use it in Denmark without too much effort.
Yeah, this is a process that we'll have to go through in different countries, because the companies have the same problem worldwide. The volume is reduced. The competition from photovoltaics is much greater, but we need quality products. And as we move towards electrification of heating and transportation, we need distributed and small wind. We just have to get through the valley of death until we have, better schemes in place. And over the next couple of years, I think it's critical that we do everything we can to lower burdens on companies and obstacles to innovation. We need more investment, more products, more companies, more service support infrastructure. We need the whole enchilada, but the potential is quite large. So it's worth the trouble, I think.
But are you involved in the ICRE as well?
No, I took a pass on that one after I saw what the structure was.
Okay. I'm also not involved anymore. It's too difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there further questions or comments to Peggy Friis? Not right now, it seems, but then I think we should go back to, we have the three other presentations earlier today where we didn't find time to make comments or questions. That was for latest Friis, that was Anker Mardal, and Tony Brink. Do you have any comments or questions for these three presentations? But please come on. Of course, you later on can have to Peggy Friis as well.
I don't know how I raise my hands in this one. I can't find it. But Friis, could your measurement system be certified in somehow, or could we part of it use it for wind turbines and use it in the certification scheme? Would that be an option?
Fritz,
Yep.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here and
Good.
I can see
I'm
it.
unmuted. Yes, that's afterwards. I said at the beginning of the presentation, I made this presentation with in my mind, I'm a consumer. And you saw it's like the small wind turbine world, a lot of gadgets on the market that from environmental point of view are not worth to be on the market. Only that is enough to have some certification or as a consumer and you want to know what's the wind speed outside, it doesn't matter. You can, for €35, you can have an instrument that gives you that as accurate as it is. But if you want to do a measurement to place a wind turbine, you want to be sure. I'm involved in several citizen science projects, and we are measuring environmental parameters. I'm involved in a project in my city. In our city, we have an official measuring station from the government. It's a station of €500,000. You can imagine what for measurements are in there. And our sensor module measures the same for €200. And we were able to place one of our sensor modules on this station. So we have more or less how do you say it's the values we measure. We can we can also look at the official measurement, and then we can say, okay, this is one of our instruments is measures exactly half of what official is measured, and that for a fraction of the price. So that's an example in how we should use these gadgets on a more or less professional way.
Okay, thank you.
So it's very good to include that.
Yes. Other comments or questions? Oh, so sorry. Tanya is coming with a comment.
The new operating document for small wind is called 502.
Oh, did you get that? The new operational document is called 052.
OD 502.
OD 052. That's a new document.
Well, maybe, but that was not the name of the document that I received 2 days ago. It's of OD 501.
Yeah, that's for big wind.
That's for big wind.
But
No.
Right now, we took an offset in the 501, and it's working on making a operating document called 502 for small wind.
Okay.
And I agree with Mike that they have deep pockets the way they look upon it, because there's been a lot of, I was in one of the first meetings, but then I also left it because due to that you have to pay extra to be on board as well. And they as for now, they're not even interested in transferring some of the old certificates into their system. They want a new certificate. So if you hold IEC, there's 22 standard certificate, then they won't transfer it to OD to IEC RE.
Mm.
So that indicates that they have deep pockets. So they're not allowing people to fully use their already existing. But let's hope that they change attitude toward that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that or the difficulties on the ICRE is that the certificate must be issued by one of these members, certifying body members. So if it's a certificate issued with someone else, some company that is not a member,
Yeah.
then you are already in that problem.
You're right.
So it's very, 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 very costly.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes. Anybody else who wants to comment on the matters?
Maybe we could go for a test or a setup like Mikey proposed, and try to, based on the American procedures, try to make our own small wind certification scheme, and just run that way and see how far we get. And then I think it's rather easy to put it into the political system in Denmark when we have it based on the IEC or the NC codes. And I think a lot of, if it's accepted by the political system in Denmark, small wind can go far in terms of certificate in many countries. And if it's the same in US, and if we can get Holland to join and so on, we could, I think we could, with this group, we could make a big pressure. I think we should go for it. Because the other part I talked, it's more or less the same slide as last year I used. Because it doesn't work, nothing is happening.
We should take the lead. Yes, I agree. We should take the lead, but someone has to do it.
So the standard that we put together is public information. So anybody that would like a copy of the standard that we've the version we've created in the US, which we're calling a WIA STW-1-2020. Just send me an email. I'll be happy to send you a copy. I should point out that the team members that have led this are Brent Somerville, who was with the Small Wind Certification Council, but will soon be joining the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and Jeroen van Dam at NREL, who is heavily involved in international wind turbine standards. So good crew. I've been happy to be part of it.
Getting TC88.
But would it be possible, Mike, to upload it together with all the other things here from the conference?
I don't see why not.
Good.
I can be happy to send it to Danielle.
No, that would be great. That would be great. Good. That's the start. But also, I think it's a very important part of this conference that we actually get some goals, new goals out of it, because we are somehow in a mess right now, and everybody wants to get out of it.
I see that one of the participants is Brent, and I don't know whether that's Brent Somerville or not, but if that's you,
It
Brent, chime in, let us know.
Yeah, there he is.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm here, and thank you guys for a great discussion this morning. Man, what is it you would like to know?
Well, Brent, I've just volunteered to send the draft standard to be part of the conference proceedings, and I assume you'd agree with that.
I think so. We currently have a draft that we still have a little bit of work to do with comment resolution, but I'll check to see if we can share it. It may be wait a little longer to distribute this particular draft, but I will take that on and find out.
Thank you. Good. Sounds good.
Are you out in the rain?
It's raining a little bit, but not too bad. I don't have one of Fritz's weather sensors, so I don't know.
Yeah. Anybody else who wish to raise their voices? Well, it doesn't seem so. But anyhow, we will finalize tomorrow, and we'll start up at 9 o'clock. Sorry for that, Mike, but that's how we can do it here. So yes, but I hope that you will participate again. We will start up at 9 with a smart and affordable and reliable wind turbines for your home and business by Mohammed M. Aghidi from Amark Wind, Iran. So it will be challenging to hear what he's saying. And afterward that, we will have other presentation until about about 1 o'clock. We'll finalize. But what I'm thinking about here is that one of the outcomes from this conference, and I'll ask these of you who have been involved with it, could be that a work paper for how to do in the future about this certification. So I hope that both you, Mike, and John, and Peggy, and Brent, and Friis, and Tony here will participate in it, and I'll do as well. I can be at any help. But yes, and then I think that we should finalize for today and say good morning, good evening, and good night to everybody. Thank you very much for today, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. That's a great morning. I wasn't up as early as Mike Berge.